Welcome back to the show. It's good to have you on. Okay, thoughts in that capacity on this meeting at Mar-a-Lago?
It's the latest reminder that Eric Adams does not care at all about New Yorkers. He only cares about a pardon for himself. But let's be very clear that at the same time that Democratic mayors are meeting with President Biden in the White House at the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Eric Adams was flying to Mar-a-Lago on taxpayer funds to beg for a pardon. The same way he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about public transportation because he doesn't care about public safety. He is only caring about how he can stay out of jail. And it's important to remind people that he was not just indicted because of upgrades on flights. He was indicted because of bribery, wire fraud, and taking money from Turkey for illegal campaign donations to help himself.
You think Trump will pardon him?
At the end of the day, all that we should focus on is that he does not care about you.
You think Trump will go forward with that? And if so, how does that affect, your life? You're running for mayor.
Well, let's be very clear. I'm the most qualified in the race, and this is the latest reminder of why I should be elected. I'm the only one who has federal, state, and city experience, from being a staffer for President Obama in the White House to being a state assembly member for 6 years, where we led the Pompeii bipartisan bill, to what I've done as an organizer and a reverend in New York City. At the end of the day, we don't need someone who wants a pardon. We need someone that's actually helping the people. When you think about universal child care, it's that understanding that I am helping families get by and make sure you can advance, while all Eric Adams is doing is trying to advance himself. When you think about trains being delayed, you think about public safety. I actually have a plan so we can help our people stay safe and get home. But the only thing that Eric Adams cares about is getting back to Donald Trump. And so at the end of the day, let's be very clear.
Yep.
Eric Adams has had a chance to address the issues, and the only issue he cares about is keeping his behind out of jail.
Well, listen, this could be a really interesting race. Adams, no Adams, especially if there's another candidate that gets into the race. Let me put the headline up from our colleagues at The Hill, talking about Andrew Cuomo, saying that he's poised to shake up the race and calling him the quote-unquote 900-pound gorilla in the room. They have a strategist quoted that's saying Andrew Cuomo's obviously the 900-pound gorilla in this room. He would start with a commanding lead, built mostly on his high name recognition because he served in statewide office for over a decade. What about that? If it's not just Adams that you're worried about, it's Cuomo.
Well, I'm not worried about him because we'll remind people that not only did multiple women accuse him of sexual assault, and which he resigned from office because of that. We have to remind people Andrew Cuomo decided to leave because of that. But it's also because he repeatedly lied about nursing homes. Your grandma, your granddaddy, someone in your family went into a nursing home and died because Andrew Cuomo cared more about a book deal than making sure they stayed alive. And so at the end of the day, let's be clear. I am Michael Blake. I am someone who is a child of God and a son of Jamaican immigrants who has went to New York City public schools. I am running for mayor of New York City because we deserve better than what is being presented to us. And when we focus on universal child care and cost of living and reimbursing nonprofits on time and actually making sure that you have public safety and public transportation work for you, that is what you need in a mayor. You don't need a mayor who has scandals and a bad track record and not actually helping people. You need a mayor who will set the tone and set the ground that I am here for the people. That is why we've been getting so much support across the city, and that is why people have been going to BlakeForNYC.com, because they understand that tomorrow begins today.
It's kind of interesting, though. We've seen some political comebacks recently, not the least of which, of course, was the man who's about to be inaugurated as president of the United States. And I don't know how analogous it would be, but these poll numbers, it was one poll, I mean, they were really strong for former Governor Cuomo. What do you say about that?
That a lot of times the initial poll, as you know, is based upon name recognition. Right. And we have to be very clear that for someone who has that initial name recognition as a three-term former governor, former attorney general, he also had 44% unfavorabilities because people understand that families died in nursing homes because of what Andrew Cuomo did and did not do. He cared more about a book deal the same way Eric Adams cares more about a pardon. You need someone who's actually caring about you.
Let me give you one more issue then.
This is why we are building the support, and that's the reason why people are believing in us across New York City.
To talk about an issue that a lot of people in this city are talking about, and even people who look in on this city for better or worse from the outside are talking about safety. Safety in the subways in particular. A clip here from the current governor, the city governor, Kathy Hochul, on the increased police presence, and then I want to know your views on the issue. Here she is.
There has been an increase in some felony assaults and some murders, which is what really shakes that foundation of security that everyone deserves to have. So we are deploying an additional 750 NYPD. And I want to bolster the police presence overnight.
All right, Michael Blake, what would you do about that issue?
Well, let's be clear. Everyone deserves to get back home safe. Everybody. The police officer, the resident, the small business owner. Everybody deserves and needs to have safety. And let's be also clear that we've been asking police officers to do jobs that are not in their description and they've not been trained effectively to do. We need to have more mental health support within our train stations. We need to be amplifying the 988 phone line so people can actually address that. And we have to make sure that we're ending homelessness and ending poverty and supporting our nonprofits so they can support our homeless communities all at the same time. Lastly, when we think about this, you don't have to decide between public safety and criminal justice and accountability. You can have them all. And when we see what is happening right now, you deserve to get back home safe. And that means we have to address items all across the board. There has to be increased accountability, which brings me back to Eric Adams. You have someone who has overseen an NYPD where he has 4 NYPD commissioners, where the latest is that there was overtime money being spent to cover up a clear sexual ring and inappropriate activities. If the law and order cop can't keep you safe, then he should not keep his job.
All right, Michael Blake, it's a big race, not just in this city because it's the biggest city of the country, but people are looking in on it, I think, this year more than even some other elections because of some of the issues. We'll keep following it. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me again.
Now, this is a News Nation exclusive coming up. We're going to go out to Long Island, speaking of New York, where this retrofitted RV is tracking UFOs. Laura Ingalls on it.
Look out, 'cause here I come.
Have you always had trouble with your weight? Same.